All right, drum roll, please. Brrr. Like this Detroit line, I'm telling you right now, is going to prove that he is going to be a star in only his second NFL game. And I think this is the tailor-made matchup for him to prove it. It's going to do one of two things. It's going to prove either that he is going to be a very good football player, or it is going to show he still has some work to do. So who is it? It is none other than my man, Brian Branch. He is going to show it. So here's what we're going to do in this video. We are going to talk about some of the numbers. We are going to take a deep dive into his numbers against the Chiefs. We are going to look beyond just the pick six. We are going to look at what he did the rest of the game, the parts of the game that it's hard to see, it's hard to find, right? So we're going to look at that. And then we are going to talk about the matchup to come against the Seahawks and why this is the perfect test for him. I really do believe that this is a good test for him. So we're going to talk about that, their depth chart a little bit. And I'm even going to break in some extra stats for you on the pick six. So we got a lot coming. Before that, subscribe to this channel, please, if you haven't already. If you like Lions content, we want to be your go-to place. We put out a video every single day about the Detroit Lions. Leave a comment. Love reading the comments. Love responding to some of the comments. And, of course, give us a like and help it out. All right? Help the video out, gain some steam. So, Brian Branch. Let's talk about this guy. PFF, you can like their grades, you can not like their grades, but they also give you some in-depth things. And I can't share the screen because it's behind a paywall. I want to make sure that I'm not just giving you guys free subscriptions, right? But you can get your stuff here. I'll tell you the important stuff. His overall grade was a 65.6, not bad, especially in the defensive backfield. It's hard to have good grades in the defensive backfield. All right, for example, Woolen, I'm looking at the Seahawks depth chart, who was a rookie of the year candidate last year for the Seattle Seahawks. He was a 65.5. Like, I mean, it's hard to have a phenomenal grade. His overall coverage was a 66.1. But I want to dive deeper into those numbers. So he had 44 total snaps. He was in there for 6 run plays. In other words, we found out really well which plays were run and which plays were passed. And he was in for 38 coverage snaps. He played more snaps in the slot, I believe, than all but like 3 or 4 players in the NFL. I thought I heard that stat. That's nuts. By the way, his tackling grade was fantastic, 77.4. But let's look a little bit deeper into this. How many times was he targeted? What did he allow? How many yards? What was the opposing quarterback rating? What did he do with it? So here's what it is. He was targeted 4 times. In 38 pass plays, he was targeted 4 times. What do we know about Patrick Mahomes? He is phenomenal at moving around and finding the open man. Brian Branch was only targeted 4 times. Why? Because he was sticky. He was sticky in coverage, all right? Like glue, like duct tape, whatever you want to call it, dude, like the sticky bandits from Home Alone, all right? You know what I'm talking about. We're the wet bandits, we're the sticky bandits. Home Alone, watch it, all right, this Christmas. But he only got targeted 4 times. That turned into exactly 2 receptions. It's not hard to do the math. That's a 50% catch. But how many yards? Because were those 2 big yardage or were they small? It was a total of 7 yards with a long of 4. So he gave up a pass to 4 and a pass of 3 yards. The passer rating against, in other words, what was Patrick Mahomes' passer rating while throwing against Brian Branch? For just a little help, I believe Jared Goff's passer rating for the game against the Chiefs was, I think, a 94.5 or a 95.4. I don't know which one, but it was right in that 94-95 range. Patrick Mahomes' passer rating, reigning NFL MVP against Brian Branch, was a 56.3. Now, here's the stat of the day. And this is one I heard, so I can't verify it. I'm not reading it right now. I heard it on a podcast through The Athletic. And it was Colton Pouncey that said it. Brian Branch, on that interception return for a touchdown, that pick six, clocked a speed of 20.7 miles per hour. Okay, so the question is that fast? Because that was the big thing, right? His speed was linebacker speed coming out of out of college. But we see him in training camp. We see him in the preseason, very little. We saw him against the Chiefs, and you're like, that's not 4.6 speed. He ran a 4.58. That didn't look like 4.58 speed. That looked like 4.4 speed. 20.7 miles per hour is last year, only 3 players who had an interception return got a faster speed on their return. 3 players were faster than what Brian Branch did in week 1, and that was all of last year. Now, I understand it's kind of a unique stat because it's like, well, how often do they get an interception and be able to get to run at full speed? But still, 3 players. That's a lot of players who got an interception, a lot of players who had an opportunity to get a run back, and only 3 of them were faster than Branch. So we know the game was good. But why is this week the week that he can prove he's good? So this week he was going up against Noah Gray, I believe it was, against the Chiefs last week, I should say. And it's like kind of a no-name thing. They had wide receivers that were out, whoever was playing the slot, right? Whether it's MVS, whether it was Sky Moore, whether it was Gray, whether it was whatever, Kadarius Toney, our best player. You are not going to get those kind of players against the Seahawks. You are going to get really good players. He is going to be lining up opposite of one of 3 players almost primarily. And those 3 players are Jackson Smith-Njigba, Noah Fant at the tight end, and Tyler Lockett, wide receiver. Those are going to be primarily the guys that will line up in the slot. I don't think Metcalf is going to get a lot of snaps out of the slot, but he might. Like, honestly, he might. So it is a good receiving crew. So Brian Branch is going to have going to be able to show us the ability to cover not only big players, but quick players and everything in between players. This is why I believe this is the week for him to break out. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I think we all know, is going to be a good wide receiver if he stays healthy in this league. He's not going to be bad. Let's just put it that way. He's going to be at least a solid starter. Lockett is a proven good receiver. DK Metcalf is a physical freak. He is different level. Like, honestly, when you look at him, it's like Kelvin Johnson reincarnated with bigger muscles, right? Not a better receiver. Don't worry. I didn't say that. But reincarnate with bigger muscles. And then Noah Fant, he was supposed to be the best receiving tight end out of him and Hockenson. So it's going to be a good test for him. I think he's going to come out the other side of it looking really good. And we're going to walk away from this being like, did we really get away with taking a guy with the 46th overall pick, a 2nd round pick, and he is going to be a quality starting nickel corner for us in year 1? And the answer is going to be a resounding yes. I really do feel this way. Let me know what you think. Do you think Branch is there already? Do you think he's going to have big highs, big lows? I think he's going to have big highs, and then he's going to stay pretty level, personally. But you let me know what you think about Branch. Am I too high on him? Am I not high enough? I think the dude's going to be a stud. I think he's going to be like the next J. Gardner Johnson, and I'm just excited to see it. So let me know what you think. And again, leave that comment, like it, subscribe. See you on the next one.